interesting thing from the point of view of transformation.
Marek Durma, witamy Państwa bardzo serdecznie.
Marek Durma, welcome officially. That's the 7th edition of the Silesian Deal Conference. Let's welcome everyone right here, present right here or online. Let's start this conference, which was organized upon the initiative of Izabela Klec, member of the European Parliament. Thank you for being here with us. We're going to address important subjects for Silesia, for Poland, i.e. vocational training in the age of transformation. I'd like to start by welcoming the guests, especially the special guest of this meeting, Minister Marzena Machałek, Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Education and Science. Good morning.
Tylko dopowiem, myślę, że większość Państwa to wie, to
this is the person who started the great transformation of vocational education that is taking place right now. I'd like to welcome Deputy Minister in the Ministry of State Assets, Mr. Piotr Kluzik. Welcome. I would like to welcome members of Parliament, Senator Dorota Tobiszowska and Ewa Gawenda. Welcome other members to the Polish Parliament. We have Senator Wojciech Piecha and the following MPs.
Adam Gawenda.
We're still waiting for Mr. Bolesław Piecha and for Senator Tadeusz Kopeć. And on behalf of the government, I'd like to welcome Voivode Mr. Jarosław Wieczorek, who is going to appear in a moment. And now let's go to the world of science. We have Professor Celina Maria Olszak, Rector of the University of Economics. Professor Marek Pawełczyk, Deputy Rector of the Silesian University of Technology, Professor Stanisław Prusek, the Head Director of the Mining Institute, the Deputy Superintendent for Education, Dariusz Domański, and I'd like to welcome representatives of local government of the large cities of this region, Mr. Paweł Silbert, the Mayor of Jaworzno, Dariusz Wójtowicz, the Mayor of Mysłowice, Mr. Dariusz Polowy, the Mayor of Racibórz, Mr. Borys Borówko, the Deputy Mayor of Zabrze, Mr. Stanisław Kucharczyk, the Deputy Starosta of Żywiec, Mariusz Skiba, the Deputy Mayor of Katowice, Mateusz Targoś, Deputy Mayor of Mysłowice, Adam Lewandowski, Head of the Province Fund for Environmental Protection, and I'd like to welcome especially the heads of principals of middle vocational schools. I'm glad that you have appeared together with winners of the competition called the Professional of the Year 2022. Well, tomorrow we will make announcements, and today we will welcome the nominees from our province. I'd like to welcome Tomasz Horyszek, the president of Węglokoks. Thank you very much for coming over. And representative of businesses. Well, and plus representatives of the media. There is no event without media. Welcome Jędrzej Lipski, the chief editor of Dziennik Zachodni newspaper.
Jeszcze widzę, że Wojtek Szarama? Nie, no.
Wojtek Szarama? Did I say your name?
Serdecznie witam.
Yes. Welcome, Wojtek. You were the first person on my list. I'm sorry for skipping your name.
Znany I wybitny
a well-known and prominent MP from our region. Thank you very much. Let's start the Silesian Deal Conference. That's the 7th edition, inspired by you. We're going to cover lots of subjects because transformation is a very broad subject. Today we'll concentrate on vocational training among experts. Please take a seat. And I'd like to invite Mrs. Marzena Machałek, Secretary of State in the Ministry of Education and Science, Dariusz Domański, Deputy Superintendent for Education. So this is the first team of prominent experts to start today. Well, the European Commission has called the year of 2023 the year of skills. The skills in the scope of vocational training and labor market are going to be addressed by this panel. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to one statement from the Prime Minister. Let's hear what the Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki would like to tell us. Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, development of the economic deal for the future always starts with Silesia. Silesia has developed the industrial image of Poland, and we wanted to be the force to take Poland into the future. The future always takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. The Silesian deal is going to be a great compass for the new economic reality and technological reality. I'm sure in Silesia there are a lot of people who want to work hard, who are conscientious. They are the best resources of Silesia. Poland and Silesia are facing a great task, energy transformation. It does not have to be theoretical only, it needs to be practical. That's why I'm happy that one of the chief themes of this conference is vocational training. Energy transformation is a chance for a civilization change opportunity if we educate people competent enough to undertake it. I'd like to thank Isabella Klotz, a member of the European Parliament, for the invitation and for looking after Silesia. I know that the matters of Silesia are in good hands, and I am looking forward to recommendations from you for Poland, for Silesia, for better future. All right, these are very important words from the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, let's address this subject. Vocational training, this is the issue addressed by the European Commission. The year of 2023 is the year of skills. Is this going to be theoretical only, or is it going to be practical? So what can be the results for Silesia, for Poland, for Europe? Thank you very much. Well, yes, this year has been announced by the European Commission to be the European Year of Skills, and it would be these are good times to have this year. We are participants in two global revolutions that are going to change our way of living, of leisure, consumerism. So that's energy and digital transformations. Plus, we're still dealing with the effects of a significant economic crisis, first caused by COVID and now the war in Ukraine. As never before in post-war Europe, we have to look after our economic resilience, and one of the best cures for resilience is an innovative labor market and an efficient education system. Europe is celebrating a year of skills, but here in Poland and in Silesia we've been celebrating this year for several years now. In many regions of Poland, energy transformation makes you think of climate, but in Silesia we believe in the ecological statements, but we have to look after people too. With development of energy transformation, the economic fabric of our region is undergoing fundamental changes. We do not want to reverse this process, but we have to do everything for Silesia to develop in a sustainable way. We are responsible for this.
Mam na myśli i
By saying we, I mean politicians,
dyrektorów szkół,
local government representatives, headmasters, rectors, teachers,
gospodarczych, działaczy społecznych,
business leaders,
także media.
NGOs, media,
Prowadzenia trudnego procesu
because the condition for a successful transformation is going to be acceptance and understanding from the
W
society.
przeszłości już raz boleśnie się przekonaliśmy, czym grozi
Not so long ago,
szkolnictwa zawodowego.
not so long ago, we realized what it means to forget about vocational training. The state concentrated on humanities. The result was lots and lots of graduates and specialists in marketing, management,
Czego promować, ponieważ
who had nothing to promote because there were absences in the production businesses. Today, many companies find it difficult to find specialists, even though they can offer significant salaries. But for several years, we've been noticing a reverse trend. I'm looking at Madam Minister here. Vocational education has been more and more successful in recent years. Young people are have been choosing good vocational schools as a path towards good professional developments. Recently, I've had a chance to talk to Madam Superintendent Ursula Bauer, who told me a story when our region was visited by a group of superintendents from France. They were under a great impression of organization of vocational education in our region. They compared percentages, ratios, but the result was always the same. Polish vocational education is better than the French education, and I'm sure you, Mr. Superintendent, will agree with that. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki said a moment ago that Silesia is going to be the driving force for Poland towards the future. It's a great task, but if not us, then who? I'm sure that the business is appreciating the competitiveness of our staff and of our strategic place. I'm sure that the meaning of Silesia as an important industrial area is going to be even more significant in the future in the face of the need to reconstruct, recover Ukraine. Hopefully, it's going to happen as soon as possible. It's not only debate today. There's going to be space for integration concerning the important matters for our region. There are no more important matters than vocational education. Everything points out that with such programs as Just Transition Fund, the European Social Fund Plus, these will provide us with proper tools to face the challenges we are faced, to face the challenges, and let's use them so that in Silesia we have attractive employers and work opportunities. I'd like this conference help us define the needs, set the directions for the future. We have great possibilities, but let's inform each other about them, and we need to coordinate all our projects. I'm sure you're going to have lots and lots of good ideas that will determine the future of the citizens of our region, and I hope that we're going to have as many as possible trade centers of skill centers. So thank you very much for creating this program for Poland, and we're hoping Silesia is going to be a leader in this area.
Thank you very much. Well, the floor is to Minister Marzena Machałek. The Vocational Skills Center, they are going to be the momentum for vocational education. Thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. I will be standing out of respect, but also to get some energy in the morning, the energy that always flows from the Silesia, good energy. Well, and whenever I'm in Silesia, you know, sometimes I don't feel like going when I'm invited by Mr. Euro MP, but whenever I'm here, I feel this great atmosphere, fantastic people people. I always feel good here, and I always take back good memories with me. Thank you, Monsieur MP. Thank you. I would like to welcome all those who are here, all the honorable guests, the environment, the group here. The audience is very diversified. We have business, we have schools, science, politics. So those people are responsible for education and also economic development. What we started on the 10th of March, it's been 6 years since I've been the Secretary of State in our government, and I'm also a plenipotentiary for vocational education. That's the function that I was entrusted by the Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. But here, when we started to design the first changes, Director Bartosiak and the Director of the Department of Vocational Training, Qualification and Strategy, we were in the Silesia. We went there to ask what good vocational and technical training should look like. And I remember Mr. Morawiecki said, do something to have more people, more kids in the vocational schools. Well, it was 55%. It's comparable to Germany. But our vocational technical schools, basic vocational schools then, unfortunately, even though I started there, it was the lowest unemployment rate for 25 years. Well, 40% of the young people, 40% of people went on the unemployment. However, after vocational schools, it was 30. We had to think why. What was the reason? Why were they not ready to report at the employer and to start working, even though there was a great demand from the labor market? And we asked the teachers, the business, the employers, and we prepared the solution that was introduced in 2019 based on several pillars. First, the necessity of cooperation between the schools and the employers is written down in the Act. There must be cooperation. It must be based on designing curricula, on designing what the education should look like in specific classes. The employers were supposed to enter the school, so to say, and I had to go through a certain stereotype. I had to face it, and I must say it here. I had to face a stereotype when the Polish employer said, what's going to be for us out of that, that we get involved in the basic vocational schools? And the Germans responded to that. I was in Germany. I spoke to the representatives of German and Swiss authorities, and they said, come on, you are investing in a machine, you need to invest in a man. You will have a well-prepared employee. If another employer solicits our guy, well, the whole economy will be developing. And going through the stereotype that we granted 10 billion zlotys to education, that this would be nothing if the employers didn't get involved. We managed to get them involved. So we have to make certain bypasses here to cooperate with certain businesses, but we have 58.5% young people in vocational and technical education, and this education enjoys more and more popularity, and it's no longer a shame. A good profession in a good business means good money and good social status. And we managed to slowly get through this stereotype. And this is important, that we change the basics for curricula. And let me repeat, what's very, very important, the focus for demand for significantly important professions from the perspective of the national labor market. Apart from writing writing down this in the act that the school had to cooperate with the employer under an agreement, but we also added the financing. Additional 1,000 zlotys per student depending on the needs, on the forecast. And this money goes to the schools if they educate in those special professions, and also special professions in the regional market. So this is very important. Professional examinations have changed a lot, I must tell you. They are very modern, based on the latest technologies, adjusted to persons with disabilities. So we are really far ahead after all those years, and this is a huge change. But that's not all. In all those changes that we planned, there's something that I'm sure will be a crème de la crème. This is the vocational skills centers, and those centers we planned with Director Bartosiak, who's here with us today. We planned that at the moment where we received the recommendations to prepare the educational projects in relation with supporting the resilience and recovery of the economy after the pandemic. We didn't think about education then only. We were thinking about different sectors, branches, about the employers who suffered a lot because of the pandemic. It was a huge crisis. Let me remind you that we are the government that granted 200 billion zlotys to the employers. This is unprecedented. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the whole EU. And those skill centers were negotiated, entered into the acts. They had certain standards and the ways of functioning. But it turned out that the money, we don't have it. However, the Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, and I must thank him here, when he saw how huge is the need for changes in the technical and vocational education, but not only, let me tell you what's the reason behind those skill centers, but he cared to have 1.5 billion zlotys for those changes that are entered in the National Program of Resilience and Recovery, and 1.4 billion for those vocational skills centers. And since September, we have been working on establishing those over 120 skill centers. In March, the first stage of competitive procedure will be settled, and the next stage will be done, and there will be a third one as well. So this is a very detailed analysis. We are relying on having the money here. We are doing it under the National Plan for Recovery, and we are doing these tasks. And one of the basic tasks is the vocational skills centers. They combine the branches, the businesses, because the beneficiary can be a branch that is associated at a national level. It combines employers at the national level. This is unprecedented. It combines, connects with the universities and schools, and this is to be a center in the given branch, in the given center that will be leading at the Polish scale. There will be students who can learn. There will be teachers who can also improve their skills, and adults. This is not only dedicated to the students of the vocational schools and technical schools, but also to adults, to students, all those who will be learning in those vocational skill centers. They will be experiencing the latest technologies, and that will be existing in the given branch, in the given sector. I know there is a lot of interest. I know there is a lot of interest in the Silesia. Here, 10 projects have been submitted and are being evaluated. I wish you that all those those projects are successful, it's very important that the Silesia has those leading centers, skill centers. We are working very hard now so that it's not just something that was established because someone gets 16 or 10 millions for recovering, for restructuring something, but we want to have it permanent in the Polish education system and economic system, because virtually this is designated for the Polish economy to develop, so that we have well-prepared people at different levels and, of course, prepared for work, that they can learn, that they can change their qualifications. Nowadays, 50% of the students who are in schools will be working in the professions that are not existing yet, and 40% of people who are now working will have to change their jobs. There must be places where this can take place, where people can can develop, improve their qualifications and experience the latest technologies. And this will be done in the vocational skills centers under the project. We are working now on the act. It's been written down in the list of legislation work. It's now forwarded for inter-ministry arrangements. We are working to have those centers where the sector can be a leading and managing authority. We want the employers to take responsibility for how we educate people, but what opportunities as well we give them, so that in their adult life they can gain new qualifications and they could change jobs. So it's very important to have this cooperation with the Institute of Educational Studies that will be certifying new qualifications and skills there. I'm about to finish, but this is just in a nutshell. It's very important that you know what modern, innovative solutions the Polish government is working on. And we have a lot of achievements here, and there's nothing to be ashamed of in the technical and vocational education. And one more thing, Matura examination, we can hear about the lowering of the requirements. Due to pandemic, we haven't changed any requirements for the vocational examination. This must be said here. So this practical training in realistic working conditions, this is what we cared to have in a certain time. There are more requirements for the person who is passing the vocational examination, gaining the competences, and what's the outcome? The results are even better, because we have more and more awareness that the students who finish, who complete the school, at a certain stage they must be able to do certain things, and we haven't had to reduce anything. And I'm very proud of the institutions, because we haven't reduced any requirements, and still the students can do it. Of course, if we talk about the mechatronics, the doctors, okay, there are some limitations. Of course, it's not about the matter of the percentages, right, of the figures. I will be eager to send you the presentations to all interested parties, because some have submitted their project. There will be third recruitment as well. It's good to think about this. If you don't manage to do it, it's good to ask what to do, what branch, what related sector is available, so that you can apply there. I wish you good luck, but keep your fingers crossed for us as well, because in this hard time, I need to thank the Foundation for the Education Development, which took over the operational part of this competitive procedure for those vocational skill centers, and we should really applaud, give them a round of applause, because in Poland there is the biggest European in September, the competition of skills, Euroskills competition. There will be hundreds of thousands of audience, thousands of participants. we will show how much you can do, how professional you have to be. Beautiful professions, great professions in Gdańsk, which we are doing in specific branches, businesses. The Poles will be starting there, and us as the Poles. The war in Ukraine caused that those professions from Russia, we were requested to do this. A huge thing, a huge challenge. We are working on big things in technical and vocational education, and it's thanks to you we are able to do it. So I should thank you a lot. Thank you.
Branżowe centra umiejętności 1,5 miliarda.
All right, 1.5 billion zloty for the vocational skills centers, and 120 such centers are going to be established. Let's hope at least 50% in Silesia. So let's make this energy even better for the business, for the world of science, of education. So the question is now about the potential of Silesian vocational education. Now the Deputy Superintendent Dariusz Domański. Thank you very much.
Pani europoseł, pani minister, szanowni państwo.
Dear Madam, ladies and gentlemen, so some information about the potential of vocational training in the Silesian province in the age of energy and economic transformation and challenges facing. Let's look at the first slide. All right, we see here a list of secondary schools in the years 2022-23. It does not include schools for adults, because most of these students are people who, to some degree, are already functioning in the labor market. The total number of schools is the largest one in Poland, so it's a great many of them. And on this potential, we have to develop the education of future staff. Here we have public schools and private schools. But let's remember that the vocational technical schools are a majority in statistical terms. There are more of them than comprehensive secondary schools. So let's remember the potential is significant. There is a question whether it's going to be upheld. The second slide. In the first grades, people in vocational schools, that's almost 58%. The average in Poland, the total number of students of the first grade, well, that's a good thing, especially, so 59%, especially that the ratio of students choosing vocational education has been growing for several years now, and we're hoping this tendency is going to be maintained. You can see in this graph that technical secondary school and vocational school first cycle school, there are more students here than in comprehensive secondary schools. The third slide, the potential of vocational education.
Odbywa się, proszę państwa, w 52 zawodach. Tutaj mamy
We have 52 jobs. Here we have a list of jobs chosen by the superintendent's office. Let's look at the green color. According to the projections from the Ministry of Education and Science, the great demand in the labor market, and yellow is a moderate demand in the labor market. So that's, like you, Minister, mentioned, changing professions. So looking for a profession that is attractive from the point of view of working, basically, right? And we can see the number of students in the first grades in terms of demand. In second position, we have hairdressers. So we have, let's say, enough hairdressers in the Polish labor market now.
Jak najbardziej. Myślę, że następny slajd.
Let's see the next slide, the fourth one.
To są technika.
So these are technical secondary schools in the school year 2022-23.
Odbywa się w 72 zawodach i tutaj
We have 72 jobs
na
here
podstawie, że tak powiem, liczby uczniów klas
on
pierwszych.
the basis of the number of students in first grade. These are the most popular jobs in technical schools.
Tutaj króluje technika.
So we have the IT technician, logistics technician, but also
które wcześniej
the
oczywiście miały
jobs
swoje
which
tak zwane 5 minut na
used to be popular in the
One
past.
tutaj w dalszym ciągu są
They are still on the list of the most popular ones, but
tendencja jest w kierunku właśnie takich
you can
zawodów.
see there is a tendency towards electrical, mechanical, IT jobs, jobs related to logistics.
Slajd.
Let's go on.
Ale ja tu chcę dodać,
All
panie
right,
redaktorze, że
but
to, że mamy
Mr. Superintendent, I'd like to add that the fact that the given job is most popular, it doesn't mean that it's most required,
zrobić, żeby
needed. We have to do a lot to make
które są też potrzebne, stąd ta prognoza i
the
finansowanie.
needed jobs to be popular, because it's not always overlapped. It's popular, it means it's required. No, there is some data saying how many students there are, but it doesn't always mean that these are the most required jobs.
Będzie oczywiście
Yes,
bardzo dużą
naturally.
rolę tutaj będą mieli w tym, co powiedziała pani minister, dyrektor.
A lot will be up to the headmasters, headmistresses and teachers, as well as labor offices in the respective counties to make students realize what are the needs of the local labor market.
5, bardzo
In-
proszę, slajd
Do
numer
we have
5.
slide number 5?
Ten slajd przedstawia, może poproszę cofnąć,
Let's go back. Here we have
porównanie liczby uczniów w klasach w poszczególnych typach szkół,
comparison between number of students in the respective types of schools.
zawierająca szereg wartości
This
liczbowych.
table including
Może być nie do końca dla wszystkich czytelna.
numbers only, maybe not so very
Zwrócić uwagę na
easy to read for everyone. Let's look at the number of students in grade 1 in the 2019-20. You can see
wydaje się wręcz niemożliwe bez
an increase that wouldn't be possible without taking into account the general context. This results from the educational reform and the so-called double grades. So to compare, it's better to look at the percentage ratios on the next slides.
Tak jest.
Next.
Kołowy,
Yes, we have this good slide now. The right one.
kołowe dane statystyczne. Tutaj mamy w procentach oczywiście podane w
Here
województwie
we have in
śląskim.
percentage
Slajd
terms
obrazuje
for
stan
Silesia.
W skali
But
Polski
I would like to say that
to
on the scale of Poland,
70%.
the vocational schools, that's almost 70%. So there is still a lot to do to make people encouraged to study in vocational schools. In Poland, we have over 16%. So there is an increase in students wanting to learn in vocational schools.
Mamy jeszcze sporo do zrobienia.
So there is still a lot to do. Lots of students in technical schools, but the vocational schools need to be more and more popular. Yes.
Prawie
So
58%
almost 50%, that's
szkół technicznych.
students of vocational technical schools. And the last slide,
Ogólna informacja na ostatnim slajdzie.
general information. Let's look at slide 8. Well,
kraju.
in comparison with other provinces, in the vocational first cycle schools in grades from 1 to 3, we have 195,000 students. In the Silesian province, 21,000 students. That's about 11% of the total number of students
Dużo.
of vocational schools.
W technikach uczy się w kraju ogółem
In technical schools
do 5.
in Poland, in grades 1 to 5, that's 711,000 students. In Silesia, that's 83,000 students. And so that's similar here, 1% more,
liczby techników.
i.e. 11.7%. Well, to conclude, you mentioned a visit by a French representative of the French education system in Katowice, and like you said, Madam Superintendent, our conclusion was that a representative of the central authority of French education was surprised that
relacja,
that in
korelacja,
Poland we have a
potencjał
great correlation and potential for cooperation between the
organu
superintendents of the Education Superintendent's Office, the authority that has a lot of competences, while in France there are no such possibilities. The French system is very
bardzo
centralized.
scentralizowany. I o czym to świadczy?
So,
Że my mamy potencjał
what does it show us?
relacji.
It shows us that we have a great potential in relationships, and let's hope this potential is going to be as best as possible. It's an open issue. Let's hope more and more managing authorities are going to be open to vocational training opportunities in the given county. I have 15 years of experience in local governments. I know the problems they are facing, and I hope today, as a deputy superintendent, I hope the managing authorities are going to be more open, and from authorities and from educational superintendents' offices, more openness towards each other, so that we have a significant improvement in the standard of education of young people in our province and in Poland in general. Thank you very much. Yes, I have to add something.
Państwu powiedziałam, ale myślę, że to jest istotne. Ja chcę powiedzieć,
I believe, well, what are the potential projects of the vocational skill centers in Silesia? All right, they are choosing because this is the offer that they are given. And let's show that our offer is more attractive. We know what we need. For example, photovoltaics, gardening,
grzewcze i gazowe,
sanitary installations, underground mining, coal processing, automotive industry, fire prevention, operation of airports. Well, Silesia is very ambitious. They are looking for solutions in many interesting sectors. But in the Polish list, some programs are funded additionally. There are professions that are very worth doing. So, 4 new ones: machinery operator, waste management technician, industrial insulation system specialist, and 9 new professions that are going to be more and more popular, such as film production administrator, film animation technician, interior design technician, waste management machine operator, waste management assistant, waste management technician, wood industry technician, book market animator, promoter. So these are very interesting new jobs, and the vocational skill centers are going to be very important. We will provide counseling to show students what opportunities they have, which opportunities will then translate to their own development and to the development of the region. So thank you very much. In this part, at the very end, let's ask Nicolas Schmid, the Commissioner of the European Union responsible for labor and social rights.
Dear Prime Minister, dear ministers, dear members of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first thank you for inviting me to the 7th Silesian Deal Conference. The European Green Deal sets the goal of making Europe the first climate-neutral continent by 2050. The Commission estimates that with the right accompanying policies, it has the potential to generate 1 million additional jobs in the EU by 2030. But we must not underestimate the social and employment impact of the green, digital, and demographic transitions. They provide significant opportunities for the creation of quality jobs, while shorter-term challenges are expected in energy and emissions-intensive sectors. The speed and success of managing these significant changes will depend on Europe's ability to upgrade the skills level of the workforce. This is why Commission President Ursula von der Leyen proposed to make 2023 the European Year of Skills. This will help us promote investment into training and upskilling to unlock the full potential of the European labour force. With an allocation of more than 5 billion euros, the European funds for the Silesia programme is the EU's largest regional multi-fund programme, including over 2 billion euros from the Just Transition Fund. I want to express my gratitude to the regional authorities with whom we negotiated the programme and who genuinely believe in the fair transition of Silesia. Silesian workers, who constitute a sizable portion of the EU's mining sector labour force, must benefit from good quality and stable jobs. To make this possible, the regional authorities and the government need to redouble their efforts for establishing training opportunities, encouraging green jobs creation, or supporting outplacement programs. I am pleased that Silesia's ambitious Just Transition programme includes nearly 235 million euros for vocational and adult training opportunities and 143 million for relevant infrastructure. The objective is to help all those impacted by the transition achieve new skills and qualifications, as well as young people acquire skills fit for the transitioning labour market. The programme also pays attention to those who might experience hardship due to the transformation, which is why we allocated nearly 40 million for social inclusion. As we all know, the impact of Russia's criminal war of aggression in Ukraine brought new challenges to our continent. I want to express my admiration for Poland and Polish employers and workers for welcoming almost 1 million refugees from Ukraine into the labour market. This is also a proof of the dynamism of the Polish economy and the strength of its labour market. I'm confident that the just transition will transform Silesia from a region that has a long history in coal production to one whose future lies with the creation of green jobs. My best wishes for your success.
Dziękujemy za ten głos płynący do nas z Komisji Europejskiej.
Thank you very much for the statement. So the Polish perspective, Izabela Kloc, member of the European Parliament, Marzena Machałek, Deputy Minister, and Deputy Superintendent for Education, Dariusz Domański. So that was the first part of our conference.
Dziękujemy bardzo. Czas na
Thank you very much.
część, na perspektywę.
Now the second part, the business perspective and the perspective of the local government in Silesian province. I would like to invite Mr. Paweł Zilbert, Mayor of Jaworzno.
W dyskusji weźmie również udział Stanisław.
This discussion will be. Let's invite the Deputy Starost of Żywiec.
I jeszcze łączenie live z
And we'll have an online transmission from President of the Katowice Special Economic Zone, Mr. Janusz Michałek.
Panie prezesie,
Please feel invited. Mr. President, can you hear us? Yes, let's sit down. The Mayor of Jaworzno, the Deputy Starost of Żywiec. All right, so we're all here.
z śląskiej, katowickiej porcelany.
Saying hello from the Polish porcelain factory. So we saw the list of most popular jobs. It seems to be really consistent with what you're trying to propose for the entire Silesian province. I'm looking at the mayor of Jaworzno, and we're thinking about Izera, i.e. the entire automotive sector that is the heart of the Katowice Special Economic Zone. But let me ask, how are you looking for the connections between employers, education? How are you trying to engage in order to develop the synergy that is necessary for the entire mechanism work?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Minister, the Euro MP, thank you very much for invitation. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there in person, but how important this the topic of today's conference is, please believe me that today the modern business, the investors worldwide, they don't provide only the infrastructure, it's not enough for them, but education, well-trained labor force. So thanks to such projects, such programs like establishing the vocational skills centers, this is a chance for Poland to get through this crisis quite intact. We are one of the best leading branch in the world. I keep repeating that we win projects because we have great professionals, people who are not only well educated, but also they are passionate about the work. 95,000 workplaces since we've been established, 25 years of our operation. So it shows how important it is to create this triangle, golden triangle, self-government, science and business. And us as the economic zone, we want to join in very strongly because now that there is next challenges ahead of us, energy transformation. And I kept repeating that in the past. And when I talk to people in the region or to the mayor or Jaworzno economic zone, either representatives, what was mentioned before, but this what Mr. Staros mentioned, we have to get strongly involved in the education. And us as the economic zone, we have been doing several projects. With us here is the rector of the Silesian University of Technology. So the first cooperation between the zone and the university was with the Silesian University of Technology. There are thousands of young people working for our zone. We want to take off the spell, the stereotype that the vocational professionals education is no longer fashionable, that everyone has to have a university degree. No, it's not true. At any time of our life, we can develop, improve our education. So thank you for this initiative that as one of the representatives of business, we can participate so strongly in projects related with education. And thanks to that, we can struggle for the best projects all over the world related with 4.0 or even 5.0 industry or with electromobility. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, we are struggling for the priorities. We have Eva Wolnica, head of the education department of the municipal office in Zabrze. Are you with us? Please join us here on stage. We need this feminine point of view on the professional issues. I think it's quite similar to the male, to the male's perspective. Of course, we are very happy to host you here. Zabrze also has their own perspective about vocational school. So please join us here. Applause to you. We are happy to have you here with us. So, Mr. President, mayor of Katowice. Thanks to Izera, the Jaworzno became popular. So, what can you tell us today about this? And one more crucial thing, this transformation process of the whole Silesian province, it's not for its own sake, it's for the people. So to what extent is Jaworzno prepared for this big project? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, the MPs, and honorable guests. Well, I will address the minister personally. I sighed with relief when I learned about establishment of those skill centers. This is perfectly matching our strategy for development. I would like to start with this. We have too many primary school students aspiring for general secondary schools versus vocational schools. On the example of one city, Jaworzno, if in the 60s or 70s in Jaworzno there was one general secondary school where young people aspires intellectual elite that was to go further and to play important roles. And thanks to the transformation, we have 3 and almost 4 general secondary schools with definitely lower population of people. What does it mean? It means that in recruitment we use much less strict filters where pupils who get there who shouldn't actually get there. Perhaps this is controversial, but I'm also an employer. We recruit the graduates of universities and we teach them afterwards to work. They are not ready to work. And it's as they didn't do very well in the secondary schools, they didn't do very well at university, and they don't have to necessarily do very well in their lives. So we have been doing a project in which we want to persuade the teachers, students, the parents to try to face this concept that a newborn child, a sponge, but with certain predispositions, psychological profile, talents, and the predispositions, let's give them a chance to become self-fulfilled as good as possible according to those talents, to those predispositions. Let's give them a chance. So this triad, teachers, self-government, and parents. Let those young people be happy in their life, not necessarily as the next teacher or the next doctor in the family, because that's what the parents say, but let them be who they want to be. So we faced 2-digit unemployment. And as Mr. Starzycki said, I used to work with him in the local government once. We were struggling with reducing this unemployment, and we persuaded people that giving up on the vocational education, it's a big mistake. And this strive for withdrawing from this is a dead end. And we were following our own path, and this all is put in a broader concept. We have this premonition and perhaps the knowledge that the resources on which the Silesian resources economy is based are shrinking, and we need to replace replace the certain sectors with others, and this will require new competences, new skills, new professions, and there will be a moment that we will not have mining, be it from natural reasons, shrinking resources, or regulatory. And actually we have the two of them acting at once now, and if we don't come up with something that will solve this problem of this departing business, if we are not ready beforehand, then we will face this phenomenon that we had in the late 90s, where when we were surprised by the situation related with the changing political economic system. We had the mass unemployment, a lot of resentment and frustration of people, the necessity for migration. There are people who will never come back to Poland. These are really huge losses. And we persuade people that under the opportunities given by the self-government, the programs that the Ms. Minister was talking about, we want to address the offer for those who want to fulfill themselves in their life and to get the right profile relatively early. And if we look at the labor market, and we have the entrepreneurs in the city, and we've been working quite closely with them, so actually they have a very specific set of requirements. They are very well oriented whether the employee who gets there, whether they are suitable or not. They find it out very quickly. And as I said, we teach people to work, and they do it as well. And they often say, we would like to have a ready, prepared person since the very beginning. Therefore, we had this continuous and professional education center in the city with excellently equipped workshops, and it prepares people for working in businesses and sectors that we know that that they need people. So since we know that at a certain point we will have to face departure of mining, departure of the power sector as we know, and these are the sectors of our city, we've been preparing for that for years, and at a certain stage under the study of spatial management, we have prepared a big area oriented for the modern technologies, the future technologies, I would say. We hope so. And the response to our ideas was that first with the economic Silesia region, the areas that industry can be localized, which must be big enough, well located, people actually those places are very scarce in the like several hundred hectares. Jaworzno appeared, and it won the struggle for electrical cars factory, a business of the future, no matter how to put it. But in order for this to function well, we, of course, made the application, and this vocational skills center may be a platform that will prepare the people, that will give the employer the people who are prepared from the very start. We also connected it with what we have already done in the city, as we are cooperating closely with the biggest producer of electrical buses. We are basically the first city that started in this category. We have a lot of electrical buses, so together with Solaris company, we propose them to be our partner in this vocational skills centers. Of course, the economic zone, of course, the company that will build the factory of the electrical cars, and everyone can notice this opportunity there. And in this conglomerate, perhaps I put it a bit chaotically, but I think that it's very well premeditated. We have an opportunity to see new chances for development, because this vision of work, of a reasonable self-government, aims to develop continuously. We want to be an organization of people that cooperate with the citizens, regional, state authorities, business representatives, so that we can build a small fragment that will be part of synergy, interrelations that will make the Polish economy grow properly. I have no complexes, and us as the Poles, we don't have any other genetical conditions. We are not less intelligent than other nations, and we need to draw from the knowledge, the capacities, and let's build the economy to be proud of. And I keep repeating that people who work, let them be happy. Thank you very much. The Mayor Zuber said a controversial thing, but this means difficult thing. There are 3 general secondary schools, and one of them perhaps will have to be closed down, and this might not be so popular.
Unfortunately, the interpreter does not hear the question being asked from the audience right now, as there is no microphone provided.
Pani minister o tym mówiła, tak. Odpowiednio
Nie wiem, czy pani minister była właściwie słyszana, ale ja dopowiem w takim razie.
So let me answer this question.
Książka
I once read Richard Feynman's book,
czytając ją, uświadomiłem sobie,
and
że ludzie, którzy odnoszą
after having read it, I realized that people who are very successful in life are people
talenty w więcej niż w
who
jednej dziedzinie.
who are talented in more than one ways.
Nie da się być znakomitym
So
muzykiem, jeżeli
it's impossible to be a great violinist if you do not have one hand, right? You can't be a great architect without great spatial imagination. So our task
tych, którzy wspólnie z rodzicami mają wydobyć
is, together with parents, to develop the talents of young people.
bardzo wysokich
And the point is not that people who are intellectuals have to go to general secondary schools or comprehensive secondary schools. No, if they have good technical skills, intellectual skills, or other skills, they can find great technical schools. Plus, we have students in our technical schools who have graduating from a technical school. They are specialists in mechatronics. They can find a job easily.
to nie ma żadnego problemu.
If they do not want to continue to study, they can find a well-paid job. Naturally, we do want them to continue to study, to learn, but well,
Mają być dla tych, którzy sobie nie radzą.
it doesn't mean that a vocational school is only for those who fail at other schools. No.
Zresztą pełniący wysokie funkcje kiedyś w naszym województwie człowiek zaczynał.
I know a case where one person who went to technical school and finally he became a rector of one of our universities in Silesia. All right, yes, so we agree. Let's not force, let's just encourage to develop the potential. And what is the point of view of Zabrze? Madam Superintendent, in terms of lessons from transformation, what is the stage of Zabrze? You used to have coal mines. Today you boast about the post-industrial heritage, a city of medicine, of science, of entrepreneurship, because like President Janusz Michałek said, the Katowice Special Economic Zone is operating in Zabrze too. So what is your point of view looking at the future, at young students? What are you preparing them for, and what does Zabrze need? Well, Madam Minister, dear members of Parliament, dear guests, well, Zabrze is continuing to work. I agree with many statements made by my predecessor in our city. We're doing our best to show vocational training as something that's attractive, as interesting for young people who are thinking about what school to choose. And we want young people to find work. So for many years we've been having activities, lots and lots of projects, over 20 million of funds for developing vocational schools in cooperation with systemic projects plus projects where we get funds, like the previous speaker said. We also want to encourage young students to choose vocational training, and that's why we've established a practical and continuous education skills. It has been operating for over 20 years, but it has been well developing, and we've been cooperating with employers. This gives young people the opportunity to make a good choice, and at the stage of primary school we're trying to organize activities connected to work orientation. We organize special classes for children so that when they make the choice, so that may make the right one. If they want to study humanities or maths, then it's a good idea to choose a general secondary school. But we want a vocational school to also be a positive choice. That's what we really hope for, because the city of Zabrze has placed a lot of emphasis on vocational education. We have all headmasters and headmistresses of vocational schools who realize that their job is very important. And when youth choose vocational schools, then we decide to open even new classes, because we are trying to meet the expectations of young people to get them trained, prepared for work. It's sometimes difficult to choose your job 5 years before entering the labor market, because a 5-year period of education in a technical school, that's light years sometimes when you have these transformations. But within different projects we try to prepare our students to continuous education, to changing jobs, to pass one more exam, to gain some additional qualifications. Well, all these popular specialties such as landscape technician or renewable energy source technician, we've been educating in them for many years in different scopes, and because the education system has been very responsive and trying to organize the studies that will provide a good opportunity to find work. And what's very important, what's very magical, is the involvement of local governments. We continue to cooperate with them to gain funds, to organize more and more projects in the respective years to encourage the youth to choose this path. All right, taking into account what you said, that the world is changing so quickly, transformation has been so fast, I think the conclusion is that today we have to be ready to learn, to continue to learn, especially taking into account that there are jobs that we've never dreamed of. And what does it look like from the point of view of Żywiec, the deputy starost? Some say that you are a foundry of great professionals. Good morning again, Madam Minister, Mr. Voivode, dear guests. Well, in Żywiec, we're very, very ambitious. Out of 10 projects for vocational skill centers, 2 are from the Żywiec region. Maybe we are too greedy, you might say, but I believe that the potential that you mentioned and some aspirations that the Żywiec region has provide us with such opportunities. Well, In total, in the Żywiec region, in the scope of RES technology and sanitary installations and gas installations, we've submitted lots of applications because the issue of development of vocational education is a priority for the Żywiec region for the last 8-9 years. I have been responsible for this for 9 years, and we started by changing the strategy of development of post-primary school education. The choice of vocational school has to be a conscious choice, first of all, because the aspirations of parents, the aspirations of children are diverse, while we have to make sure as administration authority, with the support of headmasters and headmistresses, to make the choice of vocational education a conscious one. With the Katowice Special Economic Zone that found investment areas, promoted it, attracted investors to the Żywiec region. This impulse also appeared from the direction of employers. We once had a situation that employers came over and asked, all right, I'm going to start a facility, a new plant, a new line, but who's going to work there? So, at the first stage, the labor market was what it was, i.e. More than 10% of unemployment, etc. But the employers saw our situation, and the headmasters and headmistresses of vocational schools have been very active. And what the minister said, the provision on cooperation with employers is not a dead provision. It is a practical provision, the fruit of work of headmasters and headmistresses, dozens of contracts between schools and employers, and with great effects, measurable effects for students. Within our centers, we've been concentrating on 250 adults for training, over 200 courses, over 100 students, 25 new labs, and it's not only taking place right now, because for us, dear Minister, this is just the very end, the very last thing that we've been doing in vocational education. We've not been just waiting for funds. We've been applying for these funds. Over 5 million to modernize 27 labs devoted to vocational education, because the employers wanted graduates to be prepared for work. But in the past, it was impossible because they had just old machines in our workshops. When the employers saw these machines, they were just surprised, because the employers had modern CMC machines, modern facilities in their plant. So we had to upgrade our facilities, upgrade our laboratories, workshops, plus comprehensive modernization of secondary schools. A student does not want to go to school that's obsolete, that looks bad. And so we did this to make vocational schools being perceived differently. Again, through such activities, through long-term and strategic assumptions within the local education development plans in the Żywiec region, we can say now that we've recovered vocational training system. The two problems remain that I have to mention to you, Minister. So first, we have problem with teachers in vocational training. In our projects, we also have assumption of additional training for teachers so that they can change their qualifications. But we have this fund, we have this money in our budgets, but we do not have people who would want to do it. It's difficult to mobilize teachers to show them this perspective, to say, until 2024, let's remember, we're going to have fewer and fewer people in the post-secondary schools. Today we have 2,000 graduates of primary schools. In 2024 we will have 740 kids graduating, and I'm asking that general education teacher, how do you look into the future? Maybe it's better to invest in yourself. We provide funds. Let's requalify to a different industry that's similar to what you're interested in, and it's a problem. They don't want it. We've been at the commission between the government and the local government. We've been thinking of improving the system of providing salaries to these teachers. Yes, today you can give them a better salary, yeah. So this solution needs to be systemic, and let's continue to work on it. It's going to be a great challenge very soon. In vocational schools, we will have shortages of teachers. So I'd like to thank you, Madam Minister, for this project, for the Vocational Skills Center. We all know we have problems with funds. This has already been started. We cannot waste time. But let's remember, this is just a stage. And let's develop an atmosphere that's friendly to vocational training. The second problem I have to mention, in my opinion, transformation also in vocational training means a change in mentality. A vocational school cannot be the last school students think about. We have to promote this information among parents and students through a system of counselors, work counselors in the 7th and 8th grade of primary schools. This system is going to be developed. This is the only way of making people graduating from primary schools, making them choose the right vocational school, the right profession, because we have to develop this awareness at the stage of primary schools. And one last thing. We've been talking to all professionals, teachers, headmasters, headmistresses. Madam Minister, we need to review the curriculums for some classes. No, I don't want to go into details, but there are some professions which are behind in terms of life, in terms of modern life requirements. We need some standard work to review the curriculums for some programs to eliminate what the students and what the employers do not need, and replace it with things that nowadays we need and required by reality. And at the very end, I'd like to demonstrate some good practices in cooperation with the Katowice Special Economic Zone with President Michałek, who is involved in a very interesting project, Silesian Professionals. A close cooperation. The student goes to an employer, the student gets some salary, tax-free, but also we provide reimbursement for preparing this workplace for the student, because employers have to cover lots of costs. We understand this. We want to continue this in the It's Time for Professionals program from the Żywiec region. This project is already there, and we continue to apply for funds and modernize the facility for vocational training. That's it from me. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A lot of applause to you. I will allow myself to moderate here because what's most important here, it can be a technical or vocational school or a profession for which we are instead of encouraging, we will be forcing decisions. This is unacceptable. I spoke to a state secretary from Austria who is very happy that she will come to the Euroskills in Gdańsk. She says that have to change their system of education because it's too fossil, it's too close, and there must be the general education and vocational system system, opening the ways to the path. We have it. I remember a boss of a German company saying, do not let the Polish student learn in general secondary schools. They have to go to work, to vocational schools. No, we can't do it. It must be their decisions, the parents' decision, that this school is their future and this is the only right way. And all the efforts of the local government and the businesses, the sectors, they make it happen. We have a crisis, yes, and this will be experienced by us in many sectors. We are very open to all postulates. We know that we can't invent anything sitting at the desk. Every discussion is a huge impulse for us. We need to think about preparation of the teachers, the profession teachers, but without the professionals, if they do not delegate their people, their specialists to work with children, with the youth, we will not be able to make it. But every week I meet with the businesses, with the professions, to modify the curriculum basis. So those bases must be open enough, because we can't catch up with the reality, with the changing reality. So we are trying to have several percent at the curriculum basis to be at the disposal of the teacher. For those of you who are watching us online, this is Marzena Machałek, the Ministry of Education. Thank you very much. So from the local government to the ministry. Okay, thank you for the arguments from Zabrze, Jaworzno and the Żywiec region. Thank you very much.
Szanowni Państwo,
Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue our professional discussion. So let me invite professionals. This will be the business and business environment and science. Tomasz Heryszka, President of Węglokoks S.A. Let's invite him to the stage. Professor Celina Olszak, Rector of the University of Economics in Katowice. Professor Marek Pawełczyk, Deputy Rector of the SILESIAN University of Technology in Gliwice, and Aneta Łysiewicz, the Director of the SILESIAN Technical Scientific Institute in Katowice. Please join us here on stage. I think it's not the time to put the table here. First the discussion and then we will sign the agreement. So please hold on a bit. I'll let it keep. Okay. So sit down, please. President Heryszek, Professor Olszak, Professor Pawełczyk and Aneta Łysiewicz. So, okay, we are ready. Okay, so let me start with the president of Węglokoks. You've been listening to this discussion about what the vocational education looks like. What does it look like from the employer's perspective? What's most needed here and now? What about the synergy that we are talking about, that we are trying to develop, so that those people who are learning, that they can find their workplace, modern workplace, well-paid jobs optimally? Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister. Thank you for inviting me. Thank His Magnificence. We will formalize certain assumptions concerning cooperation of business and science today, education of well-qualified employees. If I may, I would like to show the capital group, which is very multi-business-like and multi-formatted. So let me show you a few slides. We are in the era of transformation, so the Węglokoks Capital Group is too. We are a company and group that grows on coal. We still have coal in our name, Węglokoks, yes? So this is the company that in the process of the regional transformation is participating very actively. So our demand for the labor and the workers that we need is very broad. This is the response to your question. We need actually specialists both in finance, well-trained lawyers, well-trained engineers, but we also need workers that were mentioned here, so the workers that do not have to aspire to the university degree, but are well-qualified workers in their professions, in particular technical professions, of course. We want to be a learning organization. The Capital Group itself is about 20 companies, 6,000 employees. As I said, we are very multifaceted. We operate in the metallurgy that we are developing strongly in relation with the investment program. Almost half a billion investment. It's a development of logistics, energy, heat power sector, and trade. And this drives our group. Last year it was 8 billion revenue and 600 million profit. The challenges that are present here in specific panels, which we notice as the company, as business as well. Nowadays, these are requirements not only to the companies, to the organization that needs to be a learning organization, but also requirements to the employees that we are looking for. So this is very high flexibility, creativity, quick response to changes. Nowadays, the world is much more dynamic than a couple of years ago, and this is also this preparation for the industrial revolution 4.0 and 5.0 that was mentioned here several minutes ago. Of course, today every stable business it's a necessity for diversification. We learned a lesson from the COVID, from the war, so we are expecting the whole spectrum of competences, commitment, loyalty. These are the features, the values that every organization is seeking. But this is also what we are expecting from our employees. And as Ms. Rector and Mr. Rector will confirm, we are basically in a situation when nowadays in the labor market we have the millennials generation in the market, Z generation, C for connected generation. In a while it will be next letter that will mean a certain generation, but this is a very strong fluctuation of personnel. These are people who expect that the workplace that they go to, that this will not be the last one. They expect that they will go and gain some experience. There is an anecdote of every HR company. What if we train our employees and they will leave? And you can ask yourself a question, what if we don't train our employees and they will stay? So this latter option is a bit worse. We are looking for the best ones, of course, for international trade, for logistics, for big investments that are in process. So we invite both great engineers and economists, great finances after both of the universities. We cooperate representatives of good schools for cooperation. You're here with us. Thank you very much. Now the word of science. Ms. Rector, you used to say that it's a difficult labor market, and now is it even more difficult? Very low unemployment. On the other hand, the need for highly qualified employees in the market. It's not just about Poland, it's about the whole EU. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Minister, Ms. Province Government, the Euro MP. Ladies and gentlemen, the University of Economics that I am honored to represent, it's a university that actually since the very beginning, for over 86 years, has been focusing on scientific research at a very high level, but also education, development of practical skills and competence among the employees, but also among the students. The proof for that is different faculties, specialties that we launch. It's several dozen of them. I will not be enumerating them, but for example, this is the information technology, logistics, international relationships, data science, so completely new faculties, machine learning, e-commerce. We are doing a lot of faculties programs in English, and those programs can be participated not only by the foreigners but also the Polish students, so that they can find themselves well in the global labor market. I would like to emphasize that our programs are designed together with representatives of business, different companies, self-government institutions, but we are also in close cooperation with directors, with principals of different secondary schools. And I think that this kind of cooperation is a guarantee that our teaching offer, but also postgraduate offer, will bring the outcome that we are aiming at nowadays. And I'm very glad that the 2023 that has been announced, the European Year of Skills, is correlated with this huge honor that we have as the city of Katowice to be the European City of Science. This is a double success. As a region, we can emphasize that here in the Silesia there is a lot of potential. I don't know if all of you who are here, if you realize that here in the Silesia region there are over 100,000 students. We have about 40 universities. This is a huge potential. The region ranks second, I think, when it comes to Poland, with the highest rate, so the ratio of students to the number of inhabitants. This is something. So the chance that we have now, the establishment of those vocational skills centers and matching it together with this intellectual potential capacity of the universities, of the personnel, this is a big chance. So I'm very happy that we meet today, that we will have a chance to sign a letter of intent which has its symbolic meaning, that universities, and Mr. Rector, I think Mr. Marek Pawełczyk will also emphasize it, that the universities are very open to cooperation with business. I have the impression that you always say that it's two words, but these words are getting very close to each other. But sometimes I have the impression that the business should also sometimes be able to understand that we want to cooperate with them. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Rector. Applause to you. You clarified what it's all about with this table that is here. So very important summarizing documents, yes? So cooperation, the meeting of the world of science and the business. Dear professor, I've been to the Silesian University of Technology many times. You don't have to read the minds of the employers. You know what they expect, what competences, what skills. Since we have this year of skills in the EU, it seems to be obvious. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Minister, Mr. Minister, the EU MP, Ms. Province Government. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event. Whenever something important happens, the Silesian University of Technology is invited. We are trying to play an important social role. You mentioned about our involvement in cooperation with the industry. It's possible because we have great partners. We cooperate with the Katowice Special Economic Zone. Mr. President Michałek is a very frequent visitor to our university. We create new offer for the students and also for the graduates, because seeing this perspective of cooperation, they more eagerly take up new challenges. And today we are going to close the cooperation with to get even closer with the cooperation with Węglokoks. This cooperation has been, of course, performed for years, and but today I found out about this letter, signing the letter, and we are very happy together with other rectors. I'm very happy about what was said in the vocational education. When I was a student, there was vocational secondary, general secondary school and vocational school in one building, and there was place for students with different plans. It's important what Minister said, that this education needs to be open. Sometimes there is a change in circumstances, change of the decision. So it's important to be able to change your program. The Silesian University of Technology is ready for supporting the teachers of vocational subjects. Years ago, we ran a lot of postgraduate studies, development trainings for the teachers to extend their skills, to meet the current, the latest equipment, technologies. Today, we are ready for this as well. And if there's a chance to be present somewhere even stronger, then we are able to support the education. Vocational skill centers, this is a very important initiative worth supporting. Silesia is a very special region because we have the biggest accumulation of industry across the country, and this vocational training needs to be taken care of, and the experience that we gain here will be promoted across the country. As it was said, in many countries, they look at us and they see that this model of vocational education is effective. And if we could only add our contribution as the university, we would like to make it even more attractive for the young people, so that it provides personnel for the companies, for the region, the European City of Science, Katowice. Yes, so it's a chance for promoting the region. Let's also pay attention to what's going on and what's needed here. Thank you very much. I hope that this will be the next argument for all those young, talented, promising people, so that when they take a decision, so that they decide to stay in the Upper Silesia and Zagłębie metropolis. As you rightly noticed, this number is impressive of students versus inhabitants. When the students leave, the graduates leave, the city is a bit empty. So we need to create conditions for them. Let's go a level below. Please, I would like now to take floor Ms. Aneta Łosiewicz, the director of the Silesian Scientific Institute in Katowice, a big pride. My father was a graduate, and he told me a lot of stories that helped him to become a graduate. All of us know about you. What are your challenges? What builds your potential, and what's the biggest challenge?
Bardzo serdecznie chciałam za zaproszenie.
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me to this panel, Madam Minister, Madam Member of the European Parliament, Mr. Voyevode, dear guests. I feel to be a representative of the lowest level of education, where we get young people who are aged 14 or even less. So we see the young people that still are not sure whether they chose well, chose their school well, and they are not sure about their career path yet. Because very often, like you said, it's often that a mom or dad has made the decision to bring their son to put on a suit, like in our school. And well, let me tell you, we are a school that has had lots of traditions. And when our school was erected in 1931, its statutes stated that it's going to develop the technical staff, engineering staff for the developing industry and Zagłębie industry. And I believe we will try to continue this tradition and to encourage people to choose vocational schools, just like we said on many occasions that a professional school, a technical school, must not be considered worse than others. We polish our skills so that we can provide young people with a different perspective on what jobs they can have in industry, in a corporation, or we provide an opportunity for continued development at universities. And I think it's not only that we teach young people, but we also learn from them that apart from the hard competencies that are very useful in the labor market, there are also very valuable soft skills that are very appreciated in the labor market, such as teamwork, the ability to work in a team, the ability to assign tasks within a team. I'm not sure how to describe this. The possibility to, when we work in a group, you know, everyone is different, everyone has different predispositions, has different dreams, and try to make them come true in a different ways. And us, as teachers, we take these young people and we try to lead these young people, but then we want to make them more and more independent, to blow in their sails, their boats being their careers, so that they can go in the direction that's going to be satisfactory for them. All right, so predispositions, or basically understanding themselves, their strengths and weaknesses, right? Because no one can be a great producer of machining tools. No one can write nice poetry. All right, so let's put our money where our mouth is. So the letter of intent has been prepared. Let's take our pens in our hands and let's start with President Heryszek and Madam Professor Olszak. This is the time. So let's start. And President Łukasiewicz, yes, and Madam Member of the European Parliament, and Minister Machałek, who is going to accompany us. So let's sign the letters of intent. one by one. All right, so let's start with Madam Rector.
Łączy się ze sobą świat biznesu,
This is
nauki,
how business and science come together, mutual obligations, mutual kindness,
sposób ta cała wiedza i doświadczenie.
so that the entire knowledge and experience and that the young people are gaining in the best universities in Poland, such as the University of Economics, the University of Technology, so that this in the future translates into finding a job in such modern companies as Węglokoks or the Polska Grupa Górnicza or Polish mining group company.
Jest uścisk dłoni, świat nauki, świat biznesu.
All right, let's shake hands, the world of science, the world of business.
Konkrety, tak aby
Let's exchange some kind words and let's have a concrete letters of intent.
bardzo prosimy
W
Panią.
tym czasie tylko powiem, że
All right, in the meantime, I'd like to say that
nie wykluczają zdolności
when you graduate from a University of Technology, it doesn't mean you cannot write poems.
na polonistę.
You know, some of my students at the University of Technology wrote better poems than students studying Polish studies. Yes, that's true. That's true. It's possible.
Przypadki w województwie
Yes,
śląskim.
we've had cases like that in our province, such as the Janów painting group.
Pani minister, tak.
All right, Madam Minister. Yes, sir.
Cały czas w tle mamy
Well,
transformację
we're
regionu Śląska.
We've been mentioning the transformation of Silesia, but let's remember that
Dzisiaj się dzieje, będziemy
what's going on today is going to impact the increase in the competitiveness of our economy, we hope,
też na
and it's going to affect the course of the transformation process, and I hope it's going to accelerate it in the right direction.
Teraz
Thank you very much.
wszyscy?
All right.
Jeszcze. Dobrze.
Ostatnie podpisy.
To niezwykle
One more signature.
dzisiejszej konferencji. Ja czuję się osobiście bardzo
So the time has come.
zaszczycona, że
I'm honored that
również jest ta inicjatywa Węglokoksu.
this Węglokoks initiative,
Jest wielką firmą.
which is a big company, well, I'm glad that we have it here. And recently, Brussels has heard of Węglokoks on occasion of a criticism of Węglokoks did at the borderline of Poland and Belarus,
Gratulacje dla pana
the famous fence. So congratulations to President Heryszak and Deputy President Łukasz Śmigasiewicz signing right now, because what you did
naszej granicy.
for the protection of our borders has been really,
Trzeba o tym
well, something worth talking about.
Może teraz poprosimy tutaj wszystkich państwa bliżej, zrobimy sobie takie wspólne.
Tak, jest czas na pamiątkowe.
Yes, have a photo taken.
O, wsteczkami, o właśnie. Bardzo dobry pomysł.
All right, it's a good idea. Let's take these folders in our hands. Let's open them.
Śląski Ład. Porządkujemy kwestię szkolnictwa zawodowego w dobie transformacji z różnej perspektywy.
All right, the age of transformation, different points of view, science, education, but also the representatives of employers, teachers,
Ze szkół zawodowych są razem.
teachers from vocational schools. We have dear students,
Bardzo ważny moment.
and tomorrow an important moment. So choosing the professional of 2022, i.e. the best teacher from all vocational schools. Let's give a big hand to this group.
Świat nauki w mocnym uścisku
The
z światem biznesu.
World of science, shaking hands with the world of business.
Wsparciu Europarlamentu,
So congratulations with the support of the European Parliament
edukacji.
and the Ministry of Education and Science. All right, so again, let's give a big hand to the signatories. Thank you, madam.
Dziękujemy bardzo Państwu. Tę część
Thank you all.
konferencji Śląski Ład.
This part of the Silesian Deal Conference has ended,
Bardzo
but
zajmowanie miejsc.
Let's please take your seats, and you can continue your conversations at your tables. I'm certain that there are many issues that are worth discussing.
Dotykających ściśle I precyzyjnie
Issues
deficytu
connected to a shortage of teachers in vocational education. Thank you very much, Madam Minister. Thank you, Mr. President.
No dobrze, w takim razie
All right.
przemeblowanie.
So let's
Proszę osoby, które tutaj
make some arrangements here.
spełnił swoją rolę bardzo fachowo, przeniosą
Let's
miejsce.
move these tables. And now I'd like to invite next speakers, Professor Stanisław Prusek, Director of the Chief Mining Institute,
Razem z nami także Szymon Łagosz, kierownik
Szymon Łagosz, Head of the Center for Skills Development, and the lady Dr. Aldona Urbanek, the Manager for Trainings and Development in Jastrzębska Spółka Węglowa, JSW Szkolenia i Górnictwo.
Panie dyrektorze, w takim razie przysłuchując się tej dyskusji, o której
So we've been listening to this discussion, to the synergy between the world of science and the world of business. How close are they, and how much closer do they need to be
wyzwań, o których
to face the challenges
się wokół jednego słowa transformacja, jeżeli mówimy o
related to transformation? From your point of view of the Chief Research Institute, we know the framework of the contract 2049, the year of 2049, the last ton of coal, but we also know that the Silesian province is not only about coal. Yes, I'll try to answer this question in a moment. Madam Minister, Mr. Minister, Mr. Voivode, Madam Member of the European Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful for you stating that date. This contract related to the year 2049. Well, let me tell you what our institute is doing in connection to this conference, to staff and how we cooperate with mining companies, but not only. I think Madam Minister mentioned this. Well, looking into the future, different centers around the world have been preparing different forecasts. Some say that our children will work, 60% of our children will work in professions that we do not have right now. And in 20 years, 50% of the jobs that we have right now are going to disappear. These are the projections, and it's very hard to make such projections into the future when we have such dynamic changes. Mr. President Horeszek mentioned Industry 4.0. Well, in the coal sector, in the energy sector, we've been talking about digitization, artificial intelligence that's going to change the labor market completely and the demand for different jobs, professions. And as an institute, we've been trying to meet the requirements of companies. As an institute, we've been trying to adapt ourselves to the perspective. Well, the beginnings of our institute was 1925 and establishment of a unique experimental coal mine, Barbara. And we have a skills development center. It's quite a unique situation. Us, as one of the few institutes in Poland, research institutes, we have academic capacity to grant the title of PhD and habilitated PhD since 1965. Now we have one. We've promoted several hundreds, maybe even more persons. in this scope? Well, we have limited time. So, since 2021, within our institute, we've been having a competence development center. We have the head of this institute here in this room. And two specific examples. 2017, the Polska Grupa Górnicza. We were talking that we needed to have so-called implementation-based PhD theses that would contribute to the companies, and in 2017 we established postgraduate studies for 20 employees of Polska Grupa Górnicza. These studies were a great success right now. We've promoted 13 persons with PhDs. They are employed in the Polska Grupa Górnicza, and they've brought a lot of value to this company. Now, three specific examples of cooperation between our institute and the industry. We are trying to react to the needs of industry. That's why we have the postgraduate studies, which are especially important for coal mines. You know, we have a shortage of specialists in mining, especially geological physicists. We've prepared such studies, and after people graduate them, they will try to have a license in mining geophysics. Well, we have a lot of involvement in the methane directive because there are a lot of threats, a lot of questions concerning the future. We're trying to react on a regular basis to the needs of our industry. We need geophysicists. All right, then mechanical processing in coal mines. We've organized third-degree studies, third-cycle studies. Last year we signed an agreement with the University of Economics, and in cooperation with Polska Grupa Górnicza, we've been organizing studies in the scope of management of production, of quite a broad scope. In both cases, these are specializations and occupations that are. These people, I believe, will find work in other areas in processing. That's environmental engineering, while geophysicists, they are very great specialists, often with the knowledge of automatics or programming.
Here, due to time limitations, I will not be elaborating on this topic. We are cooperating with secondary schools. We are having discussion. We have here the representative of JSW Training and Mining. I will tell you more about it. We are having a discussion with Rybnik, the complex of technical schools, in order to strengthen the personal education. An example of cooperation with the industry, it's the project that we did with the companies of the Jastrzębska Spółka Węglowa. I think that Ms. Director will tell us about this. And under this project, we developed a system of training using the AI methods. And here in the left top corner, you can see elements of asbestos, because with the use of those AI methods, virtual reality methods, we have been running courses on disassembly of asbestos cladding. Of course, many non-mining undertakings we do. And the next thing I want to tell you about is that last year we created the center of ISAC's, the Center for Cybersecurity. This is for mining sector of exchanging of data information. Thank you to Minister Pyzik, who inaugurated this center. This is about security, because cyber security is essential. We have all the mining power companies. It's yet another another area for development of competences that we are trying to promote and develop in our institute. Thank you very much. Doctor, what does it look like from the part of the JSW, this feedback with Chief Mining Institute, but also universities? Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, we care that the employees who join us, that they are well prepared, and the graduates that we welcome, that they are well prepared for the roles. Can I have the presentation on?
Poprosimy prezentację.
Please give us the presentation. Just a second.
To ja w takim razie w międzyczasie, szanowni państwo.
So, in the meantime, let me mention two very important projects that we have been doing under the initiative of activating of the graduates and ensuring those graduates at the high level. Among others, we joined the process of creating additional vocational skills, so we created 19 big programs which prepare graduates for specific roles. And what's more and what's important, in cooperation with the Chief Mining Institute and another JSW company, Innovation, we developed a very interesting project about optimizing the process of education through VR applications. And those applications we use during the trainings. Sometimes we ask ourselves a question, why do we teach? It's because our participants of trainings get this information into the long-term memory. So the first impression, the capability of remembering, and the ability to retrieve the information. And VR is supporting these skills. And it's something I'd like to draw your attention to. Creating such an individual educational superlink, taking into consideration the dominance of the hemisphere and the sensoric learning, this affects, among others, that the education through the virtual reality is so effective. Here we have the delay triangle. I'm sure you know it well. Look, when we immediately use the gained knowledge, then the long-term memory is shaped at the level of 95%. So look, through the latest technology, we are trying to reinforce this first memory trace, thanks to which the employees do their jobs more effectively. What are the problems of the lecturers, teachers? Look, 55% of the participants would like the trainings to be shorter. 40% would like the trainings to be more interesting. Additionally, 20 minutes. This is how much the attention span is among the participants. And 253 minutes, this is the time spent daily looking at the smartphone. So this data clearly shows that the latest technology as a tool, it's a good direction. And the project that the director of the Chief Mining Institute already mentioned, improvement of work safety and communication of small working teams using the network VR VR environment. And here we did research in the three main areas. First, defining the optimum time of immersion in the VR environment. So we asked a question, how long a participant to training would be able to function effectively in the VR environment. The second area, analyzing the increment of knowledge on the training with the use of VR. And here we ask a question, what is the increment of knowledge during the traditional training versus the trainings which is additionally equipped with this VR environment? And the third stage is the shortening of the evaluation time of the practitioner through an integral program. Why virtual reality? Because it's exciting. It's absorbing additionally. So when we put on the goggles, we get the controller into our hands. Immediately we move to another reality. No one is able to distract us or to change our attention. VR is measurable. We can offer points, an element of competition, and this is why the participants are absorbed. VR is innovative, and I think that this is obvious. The use of VR in mining, first and foremost, we can check how the employees are functioning in safe, controlled conditions. However, we are creating risky situations, hazardous ones, and we could look at those situations. What did we start with? We started with training scenario, which was dealt with by the Chief Mining Institute, and through the analysis of the error tree and using heuristic methods. This is how we dealt with it. So our role was to train, compare, and of course create new training conditions so that those trainings are as effective as possible. Let me refer to the research outcomes. The time of adjustment of the participants of the trainings, the mean time was the dominant time was 5 minutes. It was a short time when those people entered this virtual world and they could function smoothly and do their tasks. They were also able to be there, to function there in this VR environment for 50 minutes. So this was the optimum time. The evaluation of impact of VR elements on the effectiveness of training, computer graphics, narrator, voiceover interaction of the participant with objects, these were the best evaluated parameters. And I think that the essence of those studies, the average increment of knowledge in the trainings done by traditional methods is 34%. But when we added the VR application, here we had 61% of the increment of knowledge, so definitely more. Two charts here that also present the new technologies favor the gained knowledge acquirement into the long-term memory. And conclusions, the most important conclusion, we cannot replace traditional methods with new technologies, but they are a perfect addition, supplement. And I think that this is a very good direction so that we can encourage young people, technical school students,
kształciły się w tym
to
kierunku.
learn, to educate in this direction. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Aldona Urbanek, applause, and Professor Stanisław Dworsek, Director of Chief Mining Institute. And thank you very much for being here in this part with us.
Pani doktor zwróciła uwagę na...
The doctor paid attention to a very important thing about training. Time is important. We are a bit out of time. We also spoke about those who here spread the education. So I would like to invite exceptional people, teachers of vocational schools. They compete for the title of Professional of the Year. We would like to see you. We would like to get to know you and to ask you for the recipe that was mentioned by Miss Minister, the Lady Minister, how to persuade people to stay or to choose the specific profession. The list of the teachers is very long. This is the competition under the patronage of the Ministry of Science and Education. Applause to Monika Legieć-Kwaśny. Please come here. Sebastian Schlempa, Danuta Kowalczyk-Cudak. Come here to the stage. Izabela Szczęsny. A lot of applause. Agnieszka Jonik, Aleksandra Bialik, Piotr Krawiec, Wojciech Zieliński, Linda Grabowska, Daniel Kiełbiński, Angielka Mańka-Goncerz, Alina Jancek, Małgorzata Skutnik, Elżbieta Sapińska, Gumoś. Who will be the professional of 2022? We will find out tomorrow. This prestigious competition will be settled tomorrow. Please come here. All those wonderful teachers who promote and spread education, applause for them. This will be a difficult choice. And young people also make difficult choices. And I would like to ask you, perhaps which school do you represent? Introduce yourself and tell us what's the importance of this decision. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's welcome the Minister, the Euro MP. I represent here the Technical Institute from Częstochowa. And answering your question, in my opinion, the most important thing is to learn, to get to know the young person. They come to school, we lead them by the hand, and as they are developing, getting more mature, gets a certain age where they slowly decide and think. So showing them the whole picture of what they can achieve, proposing them a whole range of different trainings, possibilities in school, and they try to choose for themselves. And this is the best thing, I think. So they choose the right path, and this is the best, in my opinion, for those 20 years that I've been teaching. When I see young people, when I visit different institutions, I watch them become the directors, employees, and I can talk to them. Is this maturity higher or lower than before? What's the key to persuade, not force them, but to encourage? Good afternoon, Danuta Kowalczyk-Cudat. I represent the complex of secondary schools number 4 in Jaworzno. Let me welcome the honorable audience. Well, as I said, you can get to the source with the student, but they have to drink themselves on their own from this source. We try to equip the students with key competences that will be necessary in every profession. And very often a young person joins the school persuaded by their friends, their parents, and they haven't defined the profession precisely. Perhaps this will not be their career path, but as we equip them with key competences, foreign languages, teamwork, responsibility, decision-taking, responsibility for delivering the result to the end, the willingness to speak, to use argument. All this makes a young person be able to change their profession, their job. They, apart from changing the program, they can equip themselves with vocational courses that make them more competitive in the labor market. Very often we hear that before a young person completes their professional career, they will have to change their qualifications several times. And as professionals, we focus on that. Of course, we are very happy with our graduate successes who select their programs according to the preferences, but we are also very happy with the successes of the students that were not so sure about what profession they want to choose, but anyway, they find themselves in the reality and they succeed. Thank you very much. Applause. That's a very true voice. And there's one more important thing. Let's know schools in Gliwice. Yes, we need to tell them what's the reality. Yes, let's be honest with them, what it's like, because afterwards they could get frustrated and disappointed. We need to tell them in the beginning what does the given choice involve, what will the employer require from them, from the young people that we educate, and we need to prepare the young people as good as possible. And this is a big responsibility on our side, so that on one hand we prepare them, but on the other hand we need to tell them what the labor market will require from them. Those young people who are somewhere here, they have their dreams. You can admit that those dreams of future, they are very vivid, and this is good. And the direction is important, and the path. How are you trying to outline this path for young people who find it difficult? Zespół Szkół Technicznych, so the complex of technical schools in Katowice. Well, we use the opportunities created by the city under the campaigns The Winter in the City and Summer in the City, that we show the young people since the kindergarten the vocational opportunities. They participate eagerly, and those kids, when they are very young and when they find out more with the opportunities of the vocational, they visit our lab at Mikołowska Street, and very often they choose our school, and I'm very happy about that because it's effective. Applause. And a female voice, a teacher as a guide, yes? Teacher as a guide. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I represent the technical school number 7 in Sosnowce, interior design and style. Yes, being a guide is a very important role. We show them the path. We encourage them, we open them to new opportunities, we stimulate the innovativeness, and in cooperation with employers, what's very important, and also the cooperation between the employers and the students, this gives them the opportunity for development and for being the best in the given profession, in the given program. Thank you very much. A lot of applause. Only professionals here of 2022. If it was up to me, you would receive this prestigious title yourself. Let me welcome to the stage the MP, the minister, the professionals of 2022. So the teachers of vocational education who aspire for this prestigious title, the competition under the auspices of the Ministry of Science. We meet tomorrow in Warsaw. There will be a gala, the settlement, organized by the Minister of Education and Science with the Foundation of Development of Science. It's under the patronage of KGHM. They are the main sponsor. So those who will be the not only the nominees but also the winners, you will receive rewards, prizes. You are our pride. It's 18, yes. Today we have 14, but we have 18 nominees from Silesia. Applause for them. This is really a lot. Without you, without your commitment, professionalism, Polish economy would not develop because you are preparing personnel for the Polish economy. So thank you very much. We need to be careful and treat you very specially. Thank you very much. Best greetings. And the province governor, thank you very much. The minister, the MPs, and the Euro MP. I would like to congratulate you very strongly that there is so much enthusiasm in you, so much passion for developing the new generation. To promote the education. The Silesian region has a lot of achievements in transforming our region. Supported by humanities, I think we can have a competitive edge to other regions of Poland. So once again, thank you and congratulations. I would like to thank all the directors, school principals, who have such wonderful people in their human resources. Congratulations. So we are keeping our fingers crossed for them, the professionals of 2022. Grand finale in Warsaw tomorrow, but today they have one already here. So congratulations from the minister and from the honorable guest. So thank you very much. You can go back to your seats, and once again the applause. And we are continuing the conference here. The vocational education in the era of transformation. So let's look at the perspective of the Polish mining group, the biggest employer in the region, and what does it look like in terms of state support. This is the role of the Agency for Development of Industry, the agency that recently has helped a lot a company with a huge history, Rafamet, in Kuźnia Raciborska. Last year they took very difficult decision about exporting their goods, and it happened so that 25% of their exports was to the east. They had no other choice. They decided no for war, no for attack for Ukraine, and they stopped their exports towards the east, and they could rely on the support of the agency. They presented the directions for supplies of their products, and they are doing very well. So thank you very much, the agency. Jerzy Anczewski, Vice President of the Polish Mining Group, Polska Grupa Górnicza. Applause. Tomasz Król, Director of the Center of Entrepreneurs Service, the Agency for Development. And let me invite Ms. Izabela Klotz, the Euro MP, to summarize this discussion. Thank you very much.
I zapraszamy jeszcze pana wiceprezydenta Mysłowice.
And the Deputy Mayor of Mysłowice, please join us. It's good to see you. Yes, the local government perspective is very important also. Please take your seat, Madam, Sir. The first question is, Polska Grupa Górnicza, you have a great system of supporting vocational education. What is the phenomenon in that? What is the idea of that? Well, good afternoon, dear Mr. Voivode, Madam, brought scope, yes, brought a very comprehensive, difficult question, but I'd like to refer to the previous statements made by Professor Prusek, the director of GEEK, who mentioned our area of cooperation with universities. We've just, the president of Węglokoks signed a letter of intent with the Silesian University of Technology and the University of Economics. We signed it last year, which the result being a number of programs at the university, implementation-based PhDs, and I confirm that these are very interesting studies, interesting developments, which have allowed us within our company to make a number of decisions, implementations, increasing the security and management of our company. The young people that have agreed to do this, I have great admiration for them. Another element that was not addressed today, with the University of Technology, we've signed another project for postgraduate studies concerning the possibilities to get mining qualifications. So, ladies and gentlemen, it might be shocking, but when we were thinking about our staff, I asked our HR specialist, how many employees do we have who graduate university in PGG, who are in blue-collar positions? And I have to tell you, I was shocked. Out of over 36,000, over 1,000 employees with a university education work in blue-collar jobs. So, at the beginning of 1990s, I remember those times. I think we still feel the effects of those changes. And at the end of this project with the Silesian University of Technology, we need a group of people who get a certificate and who can work in the mining institute maintenance position, because the entire process of transformation of mining, the blank PR, has resulted in a situation where, in terms of faculties in the universities, well, actually right now, they are on a very to a very small degree. So we need to make use of the potential we have within the company and to facilitate everything so that these requirements resulting from mining regulations, so that they gain these qualifications. As for secondary schools, well, like in the 1990s, let's remember, it was, I think, in 1996, these were the last graduates of mining schools who taught mechanics for coal mines. Every coal mine had their own school. When it collapsed, well, actually, until 2006, there was nothing. And it was only later that we started working with local government, so that within the schools, the technical schools, that we can start patronage classes, teaching in technical subjects. This was a surprise. There was a period when there were graduates in the labor market system of scholarships, then some problems, the uncertain future of the mining industry, coal mines, and we've managed to recover. So today we have 11 schools with whom we are cooperating. We have graduates for whom we can guarantee employment. They get scholarships, they get rewards for good results in their education. This is to motivate these young people to take up this challenge and to join the mining industry.
to chyba też warto tu powiedzieć, że
Well, I think it's worth saying that there are two areas
te tradycje górnicze
where the mining traditions
są szczególnie
and the are especially strong,
o ziemi rybnicko-wodzisławskiej,
i the Rybnik and Wodzisław area, the Bieruń-Lęciny area.
współpracę ze szkołami, to tych chłopaków, młodych ludzi jest stosunkowo więcej.
There are more such people, many fewer in Katowice and Gliwice, where the labor market is much more interesting. But what I want to say is that even if we take these people in,
Konkluzja taka, że
the conclusion being is that an electrician or a mechanic
tą zawodową
that has,
to on sobie świetnie poradzi na
they will be doing very well in every other
prymitywne górnictwo.
position, because it's not just primitive mining that might
Mamy potężne maszyny,
these are complicated, great, big, complicated machines. You need to know
to nie na
how to operate
w podziemiach w tych warunkach.
underground, in the underground conditions.
Pani minister, mam nadzieję,
And I'm looking at you, Madam Minister. Please forgive me, but you know,
Centrum Kształcenia, to myśmy w PGG
a vocational training center. I think we already had this in PGG.
to się pochwalę tutaj.
Maybe yes, I'll boast about it a little.
Mieliśmy taką
We
platformę.
established a platform entitled PGG Academy.
Nawiązując do tego, co wcześniej jeszcze tutaj powiedziałem, doszliśmy do wniosku, że
And our conclusion was that
trafiają do nas, a trafiają różnie.
well, we have different employees from the labor market, from the university. Sometimes we have unqualified employees.
Tą akademię stworzyliśmy,
We've created this academy,
która jest takim narzędziem,
and I think right now
dajemy pracownikowi,
it is a tool that gives employees the
jeżeli chce, jeżeli jest zachęcony
opportunity.
przez portal pracownika, tam sobie wchodzi,
They enter it via the employee portal and they see everything there.
powiedzmy, jak jest robotnikiem niewykwalifikowanym,
If they are an unskilled worker, they will see, for example, the path of
zrobić,
what I have to do, what kind of courses I have to take in order to
odnajść się
be promoted
w górniczym zawodzie,
right in a mining position.
sobie zobaczyć, gdzie,
And they can see where they have to take a course, how, when.
może ma pokazany telefon kontaktowy,
Maybe there is some phone number to a counselor in the training department
który wskaże mu drogę i
that
ułatwi mu
who will
wejście w na
show them the way.
rozwoju tego zawodowego. To jest taki przykład tego typu i w każdej innej branży również to jest
And this it's the same in every trade, every industry.
podyplomowych. Kierujemy
Postgraduate studies.
pracodawca, dajemy te możliwości rozwoju.
We provide opportunities for development,
Pani minister, taka namiastka,
and it is
korzystać, bo
good to use it. Professor Prusek mentioned.
to między innymi jeszcze ta kadra wyższa. Ona, jeżeli nawet
And the higher level managers will also manage really well without an issue in any other sector, and this is the point.
jeżeli chodzi o te zawody stricte,
While in terms the mining professions, well, we still need these people. We will continue to need them,
na siebie tutaj.
but I think we have to just do it ourselves. Otherwise, there is no point.
Przy współpracy z GIG-iem, z Politechniką Śląską,
In cooperation with the AGH University, with the Silesian University of Technology, I'm sure the generation gap will not be an issue.
znajdziemy i dopóki będą kopalnie,
And as long as there are mines, we're going to produce coal.
przepraszam bardzo.
I'm sure we all know about this. Sorry for this long introduction. Thank you very much. We saw Mysłowice in this graph, so I'm going to ask the Deputy Mayor of Mysłowice, what is your point of view? You're looking at PGG, and what do you see?
Widzimy partnera, z którym musimy współpracować.
We see a partner we have to work with. Well, so I'd like to. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen,
Dziękuję za to, że możemy
honorable guests. So thank you very much for being able to talk about this important subject. Yes, Mysłowice is a good example. We are a municipality that is historically related to mining. We have the Mysłowice Wesoła coal mine still operating there, and we cooperate with PGG
w najbliższym czasie będziemy poszerzać.
And quite soon we are going to expand this cooperation. There is a lot of interest in our graduates that we educate in Mysłowice. And we place emphasis on history, on our roots, on mining, and the largest employer in Mysłowice, i.e. PGG. But on the other hand, we try to be open to new developments toward the market needs. We try to start programs that are required, that are needed. Like the minister said, we provide additional incentives. We have more funds from the ministry. We are quite a poor municipality, that's why we need such forms of support. So on the one hand, the roots, the history, on the other, the state-of-the-art trends, like the minister mentioned, Izera. Well, we sent many graduates to Jaworzno. We educate many people for small business partners. On the other hand, we emphasize on large business, such as the Marriott Hotel in Katowice. On the other hand, we have a small local hotel called Trojaki in Mysłowice. Both partners are treated the same way by us, plus the automotive industry and our graduates from Mysłowice go to Jaworzno too. So I believe the Izera factory is going to be to enjoy our graduates. We place great emphasis on vocational education. Let me just quote several pieces of data. Well, recently, our vocational school and technical school has generated more and more interest. We have about 650 students right now, quite a lot. 3.5 million zloty is the amount that we've engaged over the last 4 years to provide more equipment in our laboratories so that young people can work on the state-of-the-art equipment to improve their skills, to be ready to enter the labor market right after they graduate, so they don't have to make anything up. So we try to follow the needs of the market. And all right, Tomasz Król, the head of the Agency of the Development of Industry, from your point of view, what is the role of vocational education?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, all the minister, the Euro MP, thank you for inviting me. Let me say something about the Agency for Development of Industry. As the institution that supports business, we participate in many projects. We are very involved in cooperation with entrepreneurs. In our capital group, there are a lot of there's a lot of commitment in many areas. We are looking for personnel. Of course, it's a problem of many companies that their human resources are not that big, and if we are looking for a qualified employee, then we are in trouble. Today, some time ago, we used to call it a blue-collar worker. Now we call them a technician, an operator of a machine that is very expensive. And we want the new employees to be able to take care of the machine, to operate it. The agency operates on many levels. We organize conferences, HR for industry, which aims to establish cooperation between the universities, companies, local governments in the scope of the attempt to estimate the trends for employees, because nowadays the economic situation is changing rapidly. The recent years have been so dynamic. First we had COVID. This remodeled many businesses. Now we have a situation in Ukraine. We have a war. This also changes our whole economy, shortened supply chains. More and more companies in production are emerging in Poland. Today we are looking at the production businesses as the most stable ones that can operate, that can use the opportunity opportunity related with exports. Our exports is growing. We have high margin here, so those companies are able to use this margin for innovations in their companies. We have also research and development programs. As to the Agency for Development of Industry, we are trying to support financially the companies. You mentioned Rafamed. We help them with capital, but we also help other companies with commercial loans. Not only big companies that are in the market, not only the state treasury, but also SMEs. There is a huge potential for growth there, and we want to act very dynamically here. This transformation also involves the energy transformation. We must not forget about this. We will be greener and greener. We have had a lot of dates that we will change our approach to the current manufacturing. We are also we are building photovoltaic farms. We have offshore also, where the agency is involved very actively. But as to our conventional energy, we will be manufacturing for many years. We have a lot of technologies that we are not using now, but we could develop them very strongly. Finally, Silesian and Małopolska Hydrogen Valley, run by the Katowice branch. We have H2O Poland portal, which will implement the hydrogen-related technologies. We have Orlen Południe, which implemented the technology. They will be producing hydrogen. That's a very nice element for storing energy, but also using it in transport. This will be serving positively the environment. As you said, Mr. Director, if we do not see something, but we are talking about the technologies of the future, they will all require the human hand, if not the hand, then the human mind that will be able to capture it all. And this is what the conference is about, among others. Thank you very much, all the honorable guests. We are going to summarize slowly the conference. It's been the 7th conference of the Silesian deal. Since we are talking about ecology, dear Euro MP, there is no more environmentally friendly transport than the rail, which is developing. So, if we are talking about the rail, we cannot miss the students from the secondary school of the rail industry. We had entrepreneurs, we had teachers today, but the most important ones are the students. I've been talking many times to the principal of this rail technical secondary school, and she said many times that this sector is growing, but there are a lot of here gaps. This is a non-public school, so if you could tell us a few words. There are few schools, non-public schools, which educate in such important sector as the rail. Non-public school, but it's not excluded, as the minister showed that public and non-public school can apply for funds and create such centers. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly honored to be here and to talk to you. It's a great honor to me, but also to our students, because what's going on, what's most important in the rail sector is that it's not a profession, it's just to realize that this is service. So our technical secondary school is named after the Captain Jan Rybczyński and the team of the Groźne train. The railmen also defended Poland, not only the army. Our school is very young. It's been 7 years since we are present, and we wouldn't have been present if it weren't for the support of the rail sector, our friends. What was necessary for us was to focus on vocational training on site, on the work site. And thanks to support of companies like PKP Service, Energetyka, Polish Railways, smaller companies, Torkol, Silesian Rails, Monat, or Intercity. This is what made it possible for us to manage this school. And owing to that, we have a couple of machine operators, track dispatchers, traffic dispatchers. This is the industry that takes on as many professionals as possible. And our school is the school of value. You don't have to persuade anyone that John Paul II is an important Pole, because in all our events we recall his words, and our youth is educated to seek for those values. The fact that 2 times in a row our Matura examinations were passed 100%, and we have excellent results in vocational examinations, the fact that we ranked 2nd in Poland in the competition of knowledge on rail, these are the visible testimonies of the right path that we've chosen and our mutual effort. The school, the railmen, the teachers and the parents, one big organism. Thank you very much for inviting us here. And this was the summary of this conference. I don't think that we don't need to add anything. Thank you very much, very warmly. Let me bow to Miss Minister, my friend. Come here, come back.
Pani minister, prosimy do zdjęcia z koleją.
Lady Minister, please have a photo with us. We have Mateusz here, who is dreaming to become a machine train engine operator. When I asked him why, then he said, you couldn't have so much force to hold all the tons in your hand. Thank you very much. This is the Rail Secondary School in Tychy. Thank you very much. Also the young people. And it's time to say we would like to invite you to another Silesian deal dedicated to values. A moment ago, the director mentioned, the principal mentioned our Saint John Paul II, and we would like to recall his message in May this year. Let me invite you to the 8th Silesian deal. Please feel invited. All the best. Thank you very much.